Okay, so we've practiced lots of winter leaves and branches now. So we're gonna put it all together to make a wreath. Let me talk about supplies. It's all the usual things except for one new addition. So we have paints, water, something to mix paints in, like one of these palettes, or a big yogurt container lid works really well. Something that's plastic, or something that's okay to get paint on. Even a small salad plate would work. A sponge for drying your brush off, a small brush and a medium brush. These are size 6 and size, I'm pretty sure this is size 2. A pencil. And then today, because we're painting a wreath, you need something to trace a circle with, or you can draw your own circle shape if you want. You want it to be a circle that is small enough. You want your round shape to be small enough so that your wreath can be painted on the outside of that shape. So what I'm trying to say is, this is the middle of the wreath now. We're gonna paint all the way around the outside of this pencil, and we're gonna keep the middle white for the most part. So depending on what size paper you have, find something to trace to make a circle so that you have plenty of room around the outside of your pencil line to draw your wreath. My paper is 9 by 12. Oh, did I mention watercolor paper in the list of materials? I'm not sure I did. This is a big watercolor sketchbook. It's 9 by 12. So it's the size of construction paper. And I would say that this thing I traced is about 5 inches around. So if you have a smaller piece of paper, trace a smaller circle. Today I have Vivian and Eleanor with me. They're gonna paint right next to me here. So you might hear them ask questions or talk to each other a little bit if they need to. Remember to push pause whenever you need a break, or if you need to let your paint dry, or if I'm going too fast. I'm gonna go pretty fast because I don't want you to have to wait around, and I also don't want this video to be an hour long. I'd like to keep it kind of short. So remember all the different components we've painted. We've made evergreen branches, we've made fir, we've made pine, we made winter berries, we made mistletoe. So today we're gonna use all of those things and we're gonna paint them again, but we're going to paint them in a round shape. So let's start by mixing up some colors. Let's make 3 shades of green. So start with whatever your basic green is and put that in 3 of your palette bowls. Or make 3 little piles on your plastic container, your lid, or if you're using the lid of your paint box, just try and make 3 places for this bright emerald green. Whatever green you have is great. But we're gonna add to all of them. Okay. We need 1 green is going to get a little bit of brown added to it. So you could start with that. And 1 green will get a teeny tiny bit of black. And actually, I don't think I have enough of that. I'm gonna add more bright green to it. And remember the trick of, once you have some colors mixed, if you just wipe your brush to get the paint in there, then you don't have to keep washing it and you don't have to keep adding water to it. It helps keep your paints a little thicker. Okay, now I need a little more black in that. We just want it to be a darker green. You're gonna need a lot more green because we're making so much of this wreath is green. So if you make a lot of green now, then you'll have it, and if there's extra, that's fine. It can dry in your palette and you can use it for the next painting.
It's kind of hard because it keeps going down.
So just wipe it like this. I'm gonna keep it here under the camera, but wipe it like this and your paint will drip down into the palette. You might need a little bit more water on your brush. Okay, so we have a green mixed with brown. We have a green mixed with black, and now I'm going to do a green mixed with yellow. So if I mixed right now, I'd have to wash my brush before I get more yellow. That's why I'm wiping it. Then I don't have to wash my brush in between each time, and also I'm not taking green back into my yellow container. I want to keep all of these colors really clean in the container, and then they'll be ready when I need them. Okay, so that is very bright, and to that, I'm going to add a little bit of turquoise. I want this one to be a little bit bluish. So this one again is green and yellow and a little bit of turquoise. What other colors do we need? We need a brown. So I'm going to put some brown in here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of black to it. We don't need very much of this color, just for a few little sticks and branches. And we need a red. Just one shade of red will do for those berries. It might work better if you move your paper out of the way, put that down, and put your paints back on the shelf, and then you don't have to be balancing and mixing at the same time.
Mom,
So not a ton of red, just a little bit. Yep.
can we do both of them?
You can do whatever red you want. You want a nice bright red for berries.
Like black?
Tiny bit of black, tiny bit of brown in the other one, and a little bit of yellow and a little bit of turquoise.
So like
Okay,
that,
I am gonna move on.
and then
If you're at home and you're feeling stressed out and in a hurry, just push pause and mix up your colors. I'm gonna start by doing some
turquoise and yellow in there.
fir branches. So I'm going to take my brown and green mixture, and I'm going to do, I'm going to show you where I'm going to put these branches. So a wreath goes in one direction. So all of my branches, whichever way I start, the rest are all going to continue around the circle. So I'm going to start on this side, and I'm going to draw with my paintbrush. I'm going to draw one branch, and I'm going to make one come inside and one go out that way. So this is going to be like those big long needled fir or pine. So now I'm going to leave a space, and I'm going to do that again. And they don't all have to be exactly the same. I'm going to leave a space again because we're going to fill in some of these parts with berries and with other types of leaves, like maybe some of those mistletoe shaped leaves. So just pick a green and start mapping out where your branches will be. And if you end up running out of green partway through, you'll just mix up some more. We're experts at mixing green now because we've had to do it for all of these different paintings. Okay, so do you see what I mean now about how this one is facing up, kind of pointing up, and so this one is going to point to the right. The bottoms of the stems are here, and then we're going this way, here and this way. Even though this is pointing up and this is pointing down, it's like they're all going around in this circle in the same way. So that means this one's going to start here and go this way. And since this is at the bottom, I'm going to make this a little more, just a little bit bigger. Maybe a little thicker and maybe a few more branches. Like that. Okay, and now I'm going to use a different color of green. Where's my sponge? Maybe the darker one. And I'm going to do the mistletoe stems now. So this whole side is wet. So if I rested my hand here to paint, I would end up setting my hand in that wet paint. So instead, I'm going to try and keep my hand on the outside of my painting and also just keep turning the paper as I need to. So this is going to be the mistletoe. I'm using the darker green this time. And I don't have to only paint on that circle line. I tried to follow it on that pencil line. I tried to follow it, but we don't have to. We just want to use that as a guide. Partly so we keep the inside open and empty. That's what helps this look like a wreath. If we started painting all over in the middle here, then we would not have a wreath anymore. We'd have something different. Maybe something that a candle would go in, or some other sort of decoration. That is your choice. If you want to paint greens all over the place, please do it. If you want to paint a wreath, you'll need to keep the middle a little bit clear. Okay, so, oh gosh, I should put one right in here. Let's squeeze one in. So before I forget what's wet, I'm gonna paint mistletoe leaves on these ones I just made. And these could be not just mistletoe, it could be eucalyptus, it could be any sort of kind of rounder leafed greenery. So I'm just gonna lightly touch down, press down, and lift up. And that makes that rounder shape. I'm just gonna do that a few times. If it's easier to do kind of start at the top and do kind of an outline of a leaf, that works too. It's easier for me to press down and lift up. So that's how I like to do it. I'm going to choose a few different colors of green and just start putting these round leaves around on those branches. And I'm doing a little bit of a pattern, it looks like, where I have fir or some sort of branch with needles, and then I'm gonna have a branch with leaves. I'm trying to make the leaves all point in the same direction that the branches are pointing. How are you guys doing? You mixing colors? Okay. Okay. You pick whatever color you want to start with for green. The idea is to have a couple different greens just so you have some variety.
What color did you use?
But otherwise it's your choice.
Gaps, Mom?
The gaps are just another green branch.
Okay, how did you make them? 'Cause I was hoping.
Oh, just the same way you did before, but choose which branches get round leaves and choose which branches get something a little more like a needle. I'm going to paint the needles now. I'll show you what I mean. So the needles just come out, kind of straight out, and they're mostly the same length. I'm going to paint them coming out both sides, all the way up that branch. A couple at the top, and then with that same color, I'm going to go up this other little sprig, and they're going to overlap, and that's fine. And then I'm going to go up this one, And I'm just gonna keep going around with this same color, and then we'll go back and add a few more needles. This wreath is gonna get really kind of detailed, and you guys, anyone who's painting along, you just choose when you feel like you're finished. I think it's nice to add something with a little bit of red before you're totally done. But your whole wreath, you know what? I should show this. Vivian, where's that? Oh, here. Your whole wreath could be leaves. Your whole wreath could be brown branches and little stems going up to some different shades of green leaves, and then you could add some berries if you want. Your whole leaf could be berries, branches with berries. I mean, your whole wreath could be branches with berries. There's so many options. So if it's feeling frustrated or you're feeling like you're done, then just let yourself be done.
What are we doing for the pine?
In what sense? Do you mean with the branches?
Yeah.
Basically the same branches, same branch shape, but instead of putting round leaves on it, you're gonna paint all these little lines that show pine needles
Like
or
stripes.
fir needles.
So like, I'd go off like right there.
Yeah, or continue on the circle. So like do the branches right along the same way you did before in those gaps.
That.
And then we're just gonna tuck branches with berries in after that.
Hey, Mom. What would I do about that? Because I already had a green under there, and now I'm doing more leaves.
Is that a leaf or is that a branch that you have there?
This is a branch, but there's another color under there. That's
Oh,
the color.
that's fine. You wanna take the top color off? Oh, okay, dry your brush on a sponge and then kind of paint on top of where you want the color to come off, and your brush will soak it up. So I ended up painting short needles, which are more of a fir needle than pine. In a wreath that you would buy at the store, all of these things would be overlapping each other, and it would be hard to see what there is. So that's why we're painting these things kind of spread out a little bit with some white in the back. It's a very thin wreath, I would say, but I think it shows your painting a little more if you keep it kind of thin. Okay, so we're just gonna keep adding needles. This part takes a little time. But now we can see how some of these colors are drying.
Some dry faster and some dry slower.
And some are pretty light and some are dark. So if I had more room, I would be turning this wreath around so that I could paint this without touching the wet paint, but I don't. So I'm just gonna try my best here. Vivian, do you have all your leaves and needles painted? Or are you going to?
It's a little hard.
Yeah, this is hard. I agree. Sometimes I watch videos, watercolor videos, and I think, I'm not gonna be able to paint it like that.
But do your own thing.
Yeah, I end up doing my own thing if I really want to, but sometimes it's frustrating to watch someone else paint something that feels hard to us. So I don't want you to watercolor if you're feeling frustrated. I just want you to do it if it's fun, because that's what it's supposed to be. Okay? You should think about if you like to paint leaves more or if you like to paint the needles more.
I feel like the needles are easier for me.
Uh-huh. So you could make your wreath have more needle branches and less leaf branches.
Yeah.
That could work. I'm gonna put a few more leaves in with this darker color.
I'm gonna add a few more leaves too.
If you squint your eyes, you can see where you have some white space, or you can see if there's some, like this branch up here doesn't have very many leaves, and also they're all the same color. So I know I need to paint some more, and I can just paint them right on, they can overlap with this darker color.
I did these leaves. I only have a few leaf branches, but I have more needles.
Yeah.
Because the needles just feel, and I think the needles are prettier for me.
Great. Okay, we still need to add some berries in though, so I'm trying to remind myself to not fill up
All the
this whole thing without any branches that have berries. I'm gonna do that now. And then we can add more green in if we need to.
Is it okay if I put a little branch in?
You can do it however you want. That answer will always be yes. You could make this whole wreath purple if you wanted to, and I would still say yes, it's okay. Okay, so I have brown now, and I'm gonna put some real small brown branches in.
Oh, we need brown too? Can we just use regular brown?
You can use regular brown.
Okay.
I always mix a little bit of black with my brown because I don't really like how bright the regular brown is, but
My bright's turning out pretty
however you want. So I'm putting really short little brown branches in, and I'm trying to kind of tuck them in inside the greenery. Just all the way around.
Like that?
Yep. You can make them kind of a Y shape if you want. You can make them a couple that are just straight. Let's see.
Mom, this is going to be for Callie.
Oh, nice. Don't tell her.
She could be watching this.
She probably won't, but she might. At least she can't see yours, but she won't really now.
We should stop talking about it.
Yeah, we should. Okay, I'm gonna put one more right here. And now the red. Let's put a whole bunch of little red berries around. I'm gonna suggest that you put at least 3 berries on each of these branches, and try and put one right close to where the branches end. And if the branch is still pretty wet, then try not to touch it to that paint too much, or it'll all bleed, which is fine too. Your red will turn darker brown. I'm looking for some that are mostly dry to put the berries on first. So I think this could be a fun card to give someone. You could mail it in the mail. You could write a message in the middle, like Happy Holidays or
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Just something that's holiday.
Happy Winter. What else could you write?
Happy Holidays.
Happy Holidays.
Have a Merry Christmas.
But a lot of choices. Or you could write nothing. Season's greetings, people say that sometimes.
I'm gonna work a little more on the branches. like the piney branches.
Okay, is there anywhere that needs a little more something? I think I'm gonna add one more little pine. Oh, where's my sponge? Oh, whoops. Fell. I'm gonna do one more right here. Where else needs a little something? Maybe here. There.
I could add some more like in these gaps right here. A little more something. Like that.
I'm also going to use my really bright green, and I'm going to go back through and put, actually that needs a little more yellow and a touch of brown. Is yours done, Vivian?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One year at Honeybee, we each painted our own wreath, and then we had one wreath painting. I had a piece of paper out with a circle traced, and everyone came along and added a branch or added something to it. And so then we had this wreath that everybody had worked on. It was so fun. So I think that could be something fun to do at home too, is have
everyone in your family make a wreath together.
Yeah, and everyone can just take turns putting another
branch on.
Yeah, another layer, or
And
one person could do the berries and one person could do the
pines.
Just have some paper out that anyone who wants to come along and add to it can do that. I think that'd be kind of fun.
I'm gonna add a few more berries.
Oh, I just found a berry branch with no berries on it. I'm gonna add, yeah.
That's a disaster.
Shocking. I'm gonna add right there. See that brown up there? Totally missed it.
What a disaster.
Thanks for understanding.
You can't have that happen.
You know what I'm talking about.
Can't have that happen.
No, we almost did. Okay.
I'm gonna let my brown branches for the berries dry off a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna show you one thing that I'm noticing that I don't love. I'm gonna go back through, I can see pencil right here, so I'm gonna extend this branch down to cover the pencil. Also, there wouldn't probably be a branch that ended not touching the other branches in a wreath. So I'm filling in those gaps a little bit. It's not necessary. I'm just explaining what I'm doing and why. Okay. And now I'm gonna be finished.